Oh. This series was made possible by the help of our patrons. More at the end of this video. Hey guys, TheCaliMack, I hope you're doing well and welcome to Heart Agency. And no, this is not a hospital. It's something else. Ab, ABBA, ABA, AB. No, that's not right. ABBA. Mamma mia, here we go. Adrian held the sheet music above his face. He squinted hard enough he could make out the semblance of a song. Not a good song, but a song nonetheless. This sucks again. Adrian crumpled the paper in his hands, tossing the newly formed ball into the growing pile on the floor. He turned over on his side, the slightly cold old couch creaking underneath his weight. He lets out a groan as he felt his back begin to cramp. Oh fuck, I felt that. Oh wait, hold on. Damn, I've been laying on the couch for too damn long. I felt that. A towering shadow blocked Adrian's view as he moved to sit up. A large hand reached out to him, and Adrian let it hang there. It's way too early in the day to be dealing with this. Maybe if I don't move, he'll go away. But there was no such luck. His stance was unwavering, hand still outstretched for Adrian to take. Oh, ah, want a coffee? Yeah. Oh, I'll have a tall drink of you, sir. You, sir. Adrian locked eyes with the familiar gentle giant. The floral shirt, more garish than usual, brought a small smile to his face. But just as quick as it had gotten there, the smile was wiped away when Adrian saw the knowing look in the teal-haired man's eyes. Wait, he raised one of his eyebrows. An offer of coffee couldn't have come without a price. Definitely not. What's the catch? No catch, kiddo. Sterling Hart, Adrian's brother-in-law. You're a brother-in-law? My Can I buy you from my sister farm? Or like a wrestling. Okay. Put a hand on the young musician soldier and pushed him over lightly, much to the boy's dismay. He grunted and slid over to make room for the muscular man to take a seat. Why is it that there's always a mess on the floor when I come to visit? Because you never call when you're going to come over. You just barge in. Barge in. I want you to break down my doors. Come inside my home. You make it sound so boorish. You knew your sister and I were stopping by. Yes, to see the song. If it isn't clear enough already, I'm not done with it. The song? What, you forgot about the commission? Ah, no, that's not why I'm here. Don't worry about that. He waved Adrian's grumbles away with a swift motion of his hand. It's not? Work at your own pace. Your sister and I know that you'll make magic. Then why are you here if you're not in a rush for my song? Why, we like to check up on you once in a while to make sure you're not holed up in here doing this. He pointed to Adrian and drew a circle over the crumpled papers on the floor. Hey, it's an organized mess, all right? Don't judge me. You live in a fancy apartment. Eat shit and die trash. No judgment here. Only tough love. Honey, I want your tough. Oh, I need a minute. Oh, truly. Oh, I want your tough love. Give me a minute. I don't want to. Oh, how do I quick save? There we go. Settings. Can I? Okay, there's the save button. He landed a playful but very hard punch into Adrian's shoulder. The boy reached up to rub his new wound with a glare. I think I'm all stuffed on the tough love for today. Thank you very much. You could stuff some more. There was a glint in Sterling's eyes that Adrian recognized right away. He was going to ask him to do something he definitely didn't want to do. Luckily, Adrian had already prepared his no, stern but not ungrateful. Well, there is one thing. I know there's always one thing I can do for you, Star. I wish you'd do something for me. The nickname used so affectionately by most of Sterling's close relatives sat quite nicely on Adrian's tongue. Sterling was much too long and much too formal. I only come to the most reliable and capable people with my investments of time. Oh, do you want me to help you a quick patch? Right, yes, reliable and capable. You sure you got the right guy? He waved him off, but the teal-haired man was not deterred. They'd done this dance many times before. You're the most capably reliable guy I know. Starting clapped his hands together like he had told the best joke, earning an eye roll from Adrian, who just shook his head. Which is why I need your help. Well, actually, B needs your help. He resisted the urge to stand up and walk away from him. Ah, does it have to be like written like that? I don't like using the term male, female like that. It feels too um I don't know, it throws me off. A favor from his older sister almost always ends up involving the agency. Heart Agency. It's I was founded by Robert and Serena Hart, Adrian and Brianna's parents. It had since grown into a globally recognized talent agency representing the world's top talent. A job regarding the agency that was passed down to his older sister would no doubt mean a hassle for Adrian. Working with the agency beyond simply writing songs was something Adrian had tried very hard to avoid the last few years. No. What do you mean, no? Hear me out first. I haven't even told you what it is. No. Sterling reached in his pocket for his phone with a small smirk. Don't you dare call me! I'm just checking the time. Relax. You can use the clock on the wall for that. Sterling disregarded Adrian's words and entered his lock combination into the phone. He began to swipe his fingers with a speed that was reflective of anything but just checking the time. Son of a bitch. Hang up. Adrian jumped forward with an attempt to grab the phone, but it was too late. Hold on. Vibrant voice of his sister could be heard quite loudly from the speaker. Hi, babe. How things going? Fantastic. I'm sitting with Adrian right now. We're bonding. Yes, totally. He leaned back into the couch and crossed his arms over his chest. It wasn't that he hated his sister. It was actually the complete opposite. He adored her so much that he knew any favor she asked of him, Adrian would comply, no matter how badly he wanted to step foot into the life of his sister and her husband at great. He hadn't wanted, sorry. Are you taking care of yourself, Adrian? Last time I was at your place, there were music sheets all over the place. Looks like you hadn't gotten up for days. You need to move. You need to move around, meet people, and socialize. You can't write music all day long, no matter how much you enjoy it. I know. His answer was a mumble. He had heard this argument from both his sister and her husband multiple times before, but Adrian made no effort to change. He had been most happiest in his solitude. The only company he had needed was his music. I won't lecture you all day, but remember, I'm your big sis, so it's kind of my job. Is it also your job to send your husband after me to do favors for you? Yes, and it's your job as a little bird to at least hear me out. Blood is thicker than water. You don't know the full meaning of that phrase, bitch. Stop using that line on me every time. It's true, isn't it? We'll be here for each other until the very end. Okay, spare me this happy talk. What is it you want to talk? You could hear the small expression of excitement she got to what she said she wanted. Adrian knew he would regret hearing her out because she was right about family being there for each other. Well, my dear star has taken on three of the biggest talents at the agency, but can't seem to meet all of their schedules. Oh, that's easy. Drop one. Just drop one. You're funny, Adrian. I wasn't joking. No, of course not. It's a valid option, but not viable for your agency. As I said, they're the three biggest stars on our roster and bring in the most money. And Star and I have a solution. We need you to take on the job as personal assistants to Sterling so that he can still do his regular job and maintain running the agency. PA? What would that even entail? Dealing with the stars when Sterling simply can't. Never in a million years. There's no way I'm babysitting a bunch of spoiled celebrities. Why me? Just hire someone. I'm sure people would jump at the opportunity to work at Heart. These guys are very particular about who represents them, so having you by their side is only a temporary solution until Sterling's schedule clears up or until we can find a suitable replacement. I hate the limelight, you know that, B. I can't be seen walking around with a celebrity. I understand it, but I'm in a tough spot right now, Adri. Would you? I wouldn't ask this if I didn't need to. Adrian looks over at Sterling, who jutted his lower lip out into a small pout. The he Adrian groaned, kicking his leg into the air. Please, baby brother. Fine, I'll do it. Just don't call me that. In fact, don't call me anything more than Adrian from now on until the end of this whole fiasco. I don't want anyone to know I'm your songwriter. That's my only condition, or else I'm not doing it. I don't see any issues with that at all. Do you, B? None whatsoever. I seems we have a deal. They began to gush together. Sorry, I can't squeal. A little restricted here. Beyond squealing and Sterling laughing, it was a show that made Adrian smile despite his apprehension about his future role in the agency. All right, now can you get out of my house? Adrian stood up and motioned to the door, earning another laugh from the pair. No, not until we get this place cleaned up. He slammed his hand against his cheek. This was going to be a long day. Looking into the mirror, Adrian let out a sigh. The events of the day weighed heavily upon his mind. He wanted nothing more than to crawl into his bed and stay there, but that wasn't really an option at the moment. He splashed water into his face, shaking his hair to remove the droplets that had sprayed into his bangs. When he looked at his reflection, he had seen a spark of the boy he had used to be, shadowing his parents to countless media events for the agency. He loathed the time he spent with the agency. Almost every celebrity he had come in contact with was full of themselves. They had some kind of superiority complex that stretched even beyond the big screen. He simply thought they were better than the talent agents that repped them. He could say now, as an older man, Adrian had met a lot of wonderfully talented people at Heart Agency that he respected a lot, Sterling included. The thought of having to work with talent that didn't much care for the core values of the people who had been supplying them the opportunity for their lavish lifestyles didn't sit well with him. He could hear their grating voices now demanding he grab them coffee with low-fat milk in the morning, telling him he was doing a terrible job when he had gone out of his way for them, and of course them bashing the company. Was it all worth it in the end? For his sister, yes. Letting out an angry sigh, Adrian slammed his fist against the porcelain sink top. If he could tell her no without feeling bad about it, he could probably live an almost peaceful life. But at the end of the day, he'd never trade his sister or her husband for the world. Being an assistant to some celebrities for a few weeks was the least he could do for the pair after all they'd done for him, including making sure he was taking care of himself. So what were a few ridiculous requests and rude remarks for the sake of his family's business and his sister's sanity? Could be fun. Maybe? Probably not, but that just meant his sister and Sterling owed him a favor later on. That'd make it all worth it in the end. He reached towards the mirror where his phone had been carefully propped up, playing a lo-fi beat to help calm his nerves. He was hoping the tune would at least make him a little drowsy. He needed to go to bed at a normal human hour to make his appointment at the agency first thing in the morning. Time to try something else. He defaulted to something he knew would put him to sleep, the relaxing sound of rain. He rummaged through his cabinet, looking for the next part of his relaxation plan. Lavender scented bath salts, you bougie son of a bitch. He was running uncomfortably low, but if stress was overwhelming at any point in time, it was now. As he began to draw a bath, he mentally listed off all the things he'd do for the night before going to bed. It would be a long list, but he anticipated a lot of twisting and turning that night. It was never easy waking up when an important task he couldn't avoid was laid out in front of him. Sorry, just had to answer a little quickie. The obnoxious loud alarm on Adrian's phone rang throughout the empty apartment. The man, just barely woken from the sound, rolled over and slammed his hand across the top of the screen as if it was a bell he could simply ding to make it that stop all the noise. When nothing had happened, he tried again, this time more aware as he fumbled with the smartphone and slid his. I really do miss where you could just slam something, it just stops. I don't want to get up. The covers are so warm. Maybe I'll just stay home. Yeah, you got work. Just as the thought crossed his mind, his phone began to go off again, this time a call. Glancing at it curiously, getting the better of him, Adrian let out another more guttural groan. Ugh. This time there was no familiar name flashing across the screen. Instead, there was a bright golden star flashing across the front. Sterling. He tossed the sheets off him after a few moments. There was no use answering the phone now. It was meant simply as a reminder that today, Adrian needed to get his ass in gear. That was what he was going to do, eventually. It blinked once, twice, a notification displayed for a new voicemail. Rise and shiner sign. Hot tip for your new job. Wear pants. See you soon. He stared at phone, his disgruntled expression deepened. Wear pants? What kind of advice was that? Was he trying to be funny? Sterling had a way of confusing and distracting someone in a way that whatever was troubling them was completely forgotten about. Well, he was awake now. His legs hung off the side of the bed for a few moments before he began his descent down the ladder. When his feet touched the cold wooden floor, he shivered. I wish I'd I wish I went to bed in socks last night. Looking around his apartment, Adrian noted the loft bed, the modern computer desk, and the small blue ottoman. All things he thought were good ideas at the time. Honestly, he could use a little bit more furniture here. Now the room felt stale. He had been here for far too long. Perhaps now that the lease was ending, he'd finally get a new place to stay instead of releasing the apartment. But those were thoughts that would have to wait until after he completed his new job. He took a sluggish step forward, dragged his feet a few inches forward one by one until finally he had made it to his closet. What to wear other than pants? Jeans are too casual. No, wait, I want to be casual, I think. I don't know. If he could simply walk around in the clothes he lounged in, it'd save him a headache. But at the agency, he had to worry about appearances and how he represented himself. He has to represent his family properly. Luckily for the male, there wasn't much variation to the wardrobe. When Adrian liked something, he bought it in every color imaginable. Since he rarely liked anything, it left a small pool of clothes to choose from. He picked out a comfortable purple shirt and threw his favorite brown plaid jacket over it. Works for me. That's what you just wore yesterday, bitch. With that settled, it left only a few things left on Adrian's to-do list. Next up was food. I'll make Sterling buy me some lunch for dragging me into this. He rarely ever bought groceries anymore. His fridge was stocked mainly because of Sterling Brianna, but their slim donations could only hold out for so long. Happy with his own decision, he walked to the center of the loft and took a seat on the swinging chair that was attached to the ceiling. Frankly, he thought there was no logical or even useful place for the thing, but as time passed, the supposed art deco piece added to by the apartment's former owner grew on him. He managed to grab a harmonica on his way to the living area. There was no way he was leaving the apartment without playing some sort of music. That usually helped him relax and clear his mind. Though, as if on cue, the peaceful plans were shattered by a knock on the door. Letting out a large sigh, Adrian gripped the ropes of the swing tightly. He shot a glare at the door. Was it really time to start his day? Go home! He could think of 10 things he wanted to do more than work at the agency, and all of them involved playing his harmonica on the swing before starting his day. I'm being courteous and waiting for you to open the door. You know I have a key. Ugh. It was God damn it. There was no space for negative feelings on his wing. He'd be bad luck to stay there and grumble about it. So instead, he headed to where all of his jumbled emotions were sorted out the couch. He collapsed onto the leather sofa, waiting for the smiling face of his new temporary boss. He heard the click of the lock as Sterling let himself into the apartment. Hey! Adrian flinched when something warm crashed against his head. He snapped to his right to see Sterling hold up a cup of coffee with a jovial grin. His eyes traveling downwards, Adrian realized that a wrapped muffin was tossed his way. That made him laugh, the first real joy he had this morning. Where's my thanks? You broke into my apartment and threw a muffin at my head. Why would I thank you? Is that what happened? I remember feeding you. Jeez, a little gratitude would be nice. Okay, Sterling is a sweetheart, a big papa bear that I want to. Well, you guys get it. Okay, took the cup from his grass. Thank you. Now will you leave? Not getting cold feet now, are you? I'm not scared. I just don't want to go. Sounds like something a scared person would say. He sipped his coffee to avoid saying the playful insult that sat idly on his tongue. Jokes aside, tough guy, are you ready to head out? We can eat in my car. What do you think? I think you're going to have a great time. It's not my first day of school, Star. I don't need a pep talk. Improve it to me and get a move on. Lose that sluggish bad boy attitude you got going on. That won't help anyone. You don't have to want to be there, but at least pretend like you care about me or helping your sister and I out. I do care, and you know that, but I don't want to put up with any of that bullshit. Then don't. It's not your job to get stepped all over. Set your boundaries, and I'll back you up. Sterling began walking towards the door, Adrian following. But I won't if you're not even trying. I'll try. Will you? Yes, now let's go before I change my mind. After you, then. Hmm, how sweet. Adrian shuts his eyes as he listened to the pop beat playing through the speakers in Sterling's heart. It was loud, blaring almost, just as he liked it. He felt the most comfortable engulfed in musical world, no person, place, or thing to bother him. When the music died down abruptly and all that was left was the rumbling of the engine, Adrian's reverie was shattered. He opened one eye, looking out the front windshield window to see where he ended up. He was hoping it was anywhere but the intended destination, though there was no such luck. They were at the agency. He tapped the top of the car's dashboard with a hefty hand, laughing as he did so. He wore Oh, Sterling did. He wore the proud smile of a father whose child just graduated with honors. The joy that cars brought to the older man was actually something Adrian thought was funny. Despite Sterling not having any kids of his own, he acted like a total daddy. It was endearing. Adrian smiled playfully at his brother-in-law who had been fussing with the AC vents. Not even a speck of dust could be left in them when the man was finished. Adrian leaned forward with a smirk on his face. Does the car call you daddy? Maybe. Two men burst out into laughter. Working with Sterling wouldn't be so terrible. It could be even, dare he say, fun? Probably not. The loud clamoring of people could be heard quite clearly, and when Adrian looked to his right, he understood why. Tons of fans lined up outside of the agency. Hilo fans if their signs gave anything away. He's one of our highest earning stars. Sterling motioned to a sign with a man's face on it. Hilo, short black hair, large blue headphones around his neck, and a sultry smile. He rolled his eyes at the image. He knew damn well that despite the two never met, that Tylo was an entirely different guy on screen than he was in person. It was part of a trade. The guy those fans were worshipping wasn't even real. Well, good for him. Good for us. It's stars like him that make the agency so profitable and well known. Your sister and I can keep doing what we're doing because of the influx. And why I get to be a personal assistant. Gee, thanks, Hilo. You seem like a swell guy. He heard Sterling chuckle under his breath as he opened the car door. Let's follow Sterling. Adrian opened the car door himself and stepped out, the cool air hitting his cheeks. The two fixed themselves. Sterling straightening the hem of his shirt, Adrian ruffling his own hair. When that was done, Sterling led the way to the entrance. Sterling led the way. Okay. Well, he tried to at least. The entrance was blocked by even more fans who were probably waiting the entrance of their favorite idol. Their collective groans were enough to tell Adrian that he and Sterling weren't who the frenzied goop were looking for. Already, it's too early for this. Not for them. He motioned to the group with a grin. Some of them stay overnight, some of them are even repeat visitors. They come once or twice a week. I even know them by name. What a waste of their time. To meet their idol? I don't think so. Sterling placed a hand on his lips and motioned to the door. At least it looked like what he was aiming for. It was hard to tell what was beyond the crowd. For all Adrian knew, it could have been a magical genie giving out wishes on the agency's doorstep. Watch this. He called out to the crowd. Most of the fans had turned around, the chatter dying down as they laid their eyes on the manager of Hilo, Sterling himself. Good morning, guys. How are you doing today? The crowd erupted into loud cheers and screams in response to Sterling's question. Adrian winced and covered his ears. Loud music was one thing. People screaming? He didn't see the appeal. Sterling! Mr. S, how's Hilo? People began to shout out greetings to the man whose smile never left his face, even as he began to say hello to fans individually. He's doing great. I'll be sure to tell him you guys asked. One of the fans had caught a sight of Adrian and waved their arms in the air, calling out to him. He must be the new guy. Adrian raised his brow and Sterling smiled nervously. Had to make an official announcement on our social media, but I kept it very vague. Didn't even post your name. But the fans noticed any changes. Anyway, I'm sure they'll love you. I don't really care how they feel about me. Then there's no problem. He clapped his hands together. Is he going to be paired with Hilo? At the mention of the superstar's name, loud clamoring spread throughout the group, some members shouting that Adrian had better take care of their idol or else. Adrian thought it all absurd and wore a sour face as he thought of a retort that wouldn't make anything look bad, but Sterling was already on it and placed his hands in front of him. I want no harassment of my employees, understood? Otherwise, we'll make you wait in the public parking lot. We all know Hilo doesn't park his car there. The teal-haired man chided the group like a class full of young children, but they had been quick to obey. Loud and boisterous, sure, but the group wasn't particularly rowdy. At least there was that positive. Sterling shot Adrian a smug and confident grin, obviously proud of himself for being able to control his space. Space that would also become Adrian's for the next few months. He wanted to tell Sterling not to pair him up with Hilo, but he was sure speaking into existence would make it real, and that was a popular headache he wasn't ready for just yet. The two had begun to walk forward as the crowd had dispersed from the door, security working to make sure there was a safe path through. Once inside, Sterling opened his arms as if to exclaim, "Home sweet home." The smile on the man's face told a story of comfort. Adrian, however, wore a different one. Apprehension, the walls closing in around him. He shook his head, hair hitting the sides of his face. Actually, being inside of the agency reminded him of his childhood. His parents worked. In the end, what did it matter when they weren't even here to enjoy what they created? Over here, we have the central offices. It's the closest to the bottom floor because it can get noisy outside with the fans, and because business people can get very impatient when waiting for an elevator. Trust me. Huh? He snapped his head to the left, following his Sterling's gaze to the beige leather sofa. They must have been standing in the lounge where people waited to be called into the office. To be honest, Adrian hadn't even realized that the two had taken any steps forward at all, let alone walked across the halls to the central offices. Craning his neck behind him, he noticed the walk wasn't far off and he hadn't been lost in his thoughts for too long. Might be sent here to deal with some paperwork, but we can handle which office you'll need to go to specifically when the time arises. Sterling on his heels, ending the very quick tour of the bottom floor. Next up was a trip to the elevators where the pair had gone a few floors up. Guess what we have up here? The cafeteria? He looked at the empty hallway. Aside from the sound of the elevators, it was completely quiet. The lack of sound was actually a bit unsettling. He couldn't wait to leave the sterile halls. No, there's a catering on each floor with a designated eating area. You don't have to worry about that. Up here's where you see the recording studios. We've got quite a few rooms dedicated to it. Oh, now the silence makes sense. Yep, all the rooms are soundproof with that amazing high quality audio quality. You making a pitch or something? Of course, always sell your business. Number one rule. I'm not getting paid to advertise. That costs extra. We can come to an agreement, I'm sure. But anyway, let's peek inside. He showed Adrian around the entire building, thrusting him in front of both young and old staff members who praised him for his ability to be hired. Probably praised in order to not scare him away like the other assistants who had found working with the celebrities was not a suitable job worth their time. The pair had seen the photo studio, sound production, rehearsal area. Now they were standing in what Sterling had called the agency lounge, though it seemed like the pair had traveled through at least four of these rooms. How many lounges are there in this place? Well, we have a lot of staff. So a lot of staff places to take a break. Sounds good, right? So long as you don't forget you're getting paid to work and don't bluff around. Of course. The sound of high heels clicking the floor made the men turn their heads to the entrance. Standing there with hair slightly out of place was and a small sweat bead on their forehead was a woman that Adrian was sure he'd never seen before. She let out a huff of air and clutched her clipboard tight to her chest. Sterling, sir. Well, hello. The woman paddled on frantically, now waving her free hand wildly. I can't find them. Whoa, calm down. I'm sorry, I know I'm not really loud in here, but I was talking on the phone to another client when I turned around. Poof, gone. El, we have to go. We need to find them. Stern couldn't get a word in edgewise as Elena kept speaking over him to the point where Adrian had wondered if she was beginning to get hysterical. Listen, we can. She clamped her hand on his arm tightly and began to literally drag Sterling away from Adrian. Huh? What the? I'll be back, Adrian. Losing something wasn't too funny, but seeing a grown man the size of Sterling get dragged off by this young woman definitely was. He hadn't noticed Sterling get so flustered before, trying his hardest to get out of the woman's grasp to calm her down. Now Adrian had some sweet time to waste until he could reconvene with Sterling about what his duties would actually be. He walked further to the lounge, collapsing to one of the couches. He chose the seat nearest to the woven orange and pink blanket. It wasn't cold, but it did look warm and inviting. He wondered if it belonged to someone. Looking around the room, he noticed how nicely decorated the place was. There were chairs set up by the open windows. It looks fancy as hell. I want to work in a place like this. His lounge felt different from the numerous others that he had been dragged through. Imagine it would be a great place to have a meal and watch movies on his phone, or even write songs that he could play on the guitar that sat comfortably a few feet away. Art Agency was a beautiful place, and frankly it intimidated him, but only a little. His eyes landed on the guitar once more. It was a G series, the best that money could buy. He imagined strumming it would feel smooth like butter. I kind of want to play it, but should I really be touching something that isn't mine? Feels like a saving moment, doesn't it? Yeah, let's play it. It's an agency lounge. I don't see why I can't play the guitar. Adrian stood up and headed to the guitar. Picked it up gingerly. It wasn't shocking to see the instrument was not only G series, but it was limited edition. 20,000 bucks on the public market. Particularly surprising to him, the instrument was familiar. He knew this guitar, used to live in the office of the previous lead talent manager. Adrian had never been allowed to touch it as a child visiting the agency. Wonder why it's here and in such an open place. It would be heavenly to play it. You could tell this fact right away as he strummed the first chord to a familiar song from the heart. He wrote for his sister during a particularly dark time in her life. It was a huge hit with the public, though no one had ever found out who was the true author. He preferred it that way. Completely forgetting where he was for a moment, Adrian continued to strum, humming aloud as he did so. The sound of footsteps, low and slow, made their way to Adrian's ears. He looked up casually, trying his best to blend into the lounge. He was sure he looked as out of place as he had felt, however. From the corner of his eyes, he caught a glimpse of him. He was tall. He, a shadow casting onto the casting floor. Beside him as he walked down the steps. Carefully, one by one, the man walked, wincing whenever he had caused one of the metal steps to creak. Is he sneaking around? He straightened himself up, craning his neck to get a better look at the man who was now clutching his hood over his eyes. It was a poor attempt at hiding himself, because he could tell who the man was right away. Hilo. Ha- Hilo looked from left to right and then repeated the motion. When he was satisfied no one of interest was around, he let out a heavy sigh and placed his last foot on the ground. And his body grew rigid as Hilo veered away from the exit and took a seat on the couch nearest to him. Beautiful song. Huh? He lifted his head to glance at the man who had turned his head only slightly to look at Adrian. That was a mess of a sentence. Hylo's hands were clasped together by his lap. Crap, was he listening? That's kind of embarrassing. You were playing from the heart, right? It's a beautiful song, one of my favorites. He raised his brow. It was hard to tell if the man was being sincere. Yeah, it's one of my favorites too. It got a lot of emotion behind it. I play it sometimes when I'm nervous about something. He didn't know why he blurted that last bit out, but it was too late to retract it. To help get you through it? Yeah, helped B so many times. It's gotta help me too. Well, I hope you're feeling a little less nervous. I actually am, thanks. Today wasn't a terrible first day, not yet. Anyway, Adrian looked to the celebrity who had turned his whole attention from their conversation to the remote he had grabbed on the table in front of him. He didn't know what to make of the conversation, though at least it had ended pleasantly. Hello held the remote in his hands for a moment as if debating whether or not he should turn the television on. Ultimately, he chose to press the power button, and the low humming of voices on the TV filled the silence that was growing between them. Adrian straightened himself up and turned his attention to the television. There was no other way to dissipate the awkwardness. So quickly it had begun, and so quickly Hilo had shut it down. He was a peculiar man. Or maybe Adrian was just a little intimidated. He refused to believe it was the second. A woman's shrill voice rang out the television speaker, growing as Hilo raised the volume. Adrian had recognized her as the Gale Forrest of the Good Morning show. At least if the world's popular and rising stars had made a home on that stage at least once in their careers. There wasn't anything of substance to come after interviews held with Gail. She discussed rumors that she knew the stars would never answer, but that the audience would be on the edge of their seats waiting for. Instead, all Gail was really able to get after her guests were half-hearted advertisements about upcoming movies, television shows, world tours, and the like. It was safe to say that Adrian hadn't much cared for the show, but hey, if it eased the tension in the room, he'd take it. Good morning. It's not New Year's yet, but there's a firecracker sitting next to me. Gail motioned to the blonde-haired guy sitting beside her. He wore his hair in a low, pulled-back bun, a style choice that Adrian thought looked quite nice. Despite the man's perfectly plastered smile, Adrian got the vibe that the celebrity was bored. Perhaps in it was a dull look in his silver eyes when the camera zoomed in, or the way his hands were idly placed on his lap like a statue. This is Elias Lowe. You may have seen him in those spicy trailers for Harley Quinn Harm, the new thriller movie taking the internet by storm. With puppet masters, detectives, and serial killers, what more could the viewers want? That sounds convoluted. He looked at the audience as she spoke, and Adrian couldn't help but roll his eyes at her attempt to bait their applause. She was so over the top dramatic with her inflection. Who could honestly be into watching something like this? The audience began to truly roar when Elias opened his mouth to thank Gail for having him on the show. It's an honor to be here, Gail. Thanks for having me. After we talked to your brother last week, I just knew we needed to talk to you as well. We had a lot of amazing things to say about you. As he should. But the man next to Adrian grunted. For a second, Adrian had forgotten that Tyler was even in the same room as him. Maybe he thinks Alias isn't funny, or he agrees that this show is totally lame. Turning slightly, Adrian took note of the way Hylo's face had scrunched up, completely different from the expression he wore before turning on the television. That guy. But Hylo's voice has trailed off as he placed his chin in his hands, leaning forward as if to hear Gale more clearly. What's it like to be able to work with the biggest agency in the world with your brother? I feel so blessed to be able to work at Heart. I've been given so many amazing opportunities. I hate this answer. It's so basic. Adrian lowered his eyes at the screen. Is this one of the guys I have to work with? He seems like a good talker, but there was something amiss in his hollow smile. He couldn't put his finger on it. He hadn't known how long Elias was talking before Gale finished up the interview, but he was sure it couldn't be for long. His responses were short and to the point, no room for deviating from his script. He told Gale about what he wanted her to know and avoided what he didn't want her to talk about. Hilo had looked visibly upset by the end of the interview. Adrian opened his mouth to say something, but a familiar cry cut him off. Both sets of eyes shot towards the word, the sound of loud clacking heels. Elena! Adrian! Adrian! Adrian barely had time to stand up as the woman from earlier had nearly tackled him. Oh, great. Sterling had been by the woman's side, approaching the pair of men with a large grin. Whatever he had been dragged off to find earlier must have been in one piece. Sterling told me all about you. All? He glanced at Sterling, who reassuringly shook his head no, not everything, but the woman had needed to know about Adrian's job at least. If you're as hardworking as he says you are, it'll be so much fun to work with you. We'll make a great team. She prattled on and on, barely catching her breath. Hilo escaped. Sterling gave a knowing look at the entryway, but didn't bother to interrupt the woman in the midst of her tirade. The woman had pulled Adrian in for a hug. He let out a surprised grunt as she pulled away with wide eyes. I wish she had a Sprite. I hope they make a Sprite for her. She sounds fun. Ah, you must be so confused about who I am. I'm just there throwing myself at you. I apologize. I'm Elena Cho. I work with Sterling and you soon. I'm the person in charge of social media here at the Heart Agency. It's so nice to meet you. He didn't force a polite smile for the sake of being kind and for Sterling, but he already knew that he was going to avoid Elena when he could. She was already giving him a headache. He hadn't drunk enough coffee for this. Suddenly, Elena let out a discordant cry. Her arms flew above her head in an exaggerated manner. No, I lost him again. Who, Hilo? Ah, so he's hiding away from Elena. That makes sense. Well, at least he got to make his escape. I'm not so lucky. Yes, I've been looking all over for him. I wanted to see if I could get an exclusive for the web show. You have a web show? We have a web show, actually. Sterling placed an arm over the girl's shoulder. She nodded back at him excitedly. She does all the work, getting the scoops, interviewing the stars, editing the content together. So what do you do then? Sounds like Elena's doing everything. Hey, I'll have you know my job is very important. For a minute, the man in charge looked flustered, earning a giggle from both Elena and Adrian, though Elena was quick to jump in once she'd realized what she was doing. Yes, he's the one who okays my videos before they're published. I pretty much approve them all. Elena knows our audience and what they want to see. All the while upholding the ideals and values of Heart Agency, she placed her hands on her hips and looked towards the ceiling as if she was a superhero. Wow, it's like they rehearsed this. Elena's disappointment from losing Hilo had been washed away quite easily, and Adrian wondered if there was anything that could possibly get the girl's mood down. What am I supposed to do now? Follow Hilo on another goose chase? Sterling smiled wider. Oh no, he has an idea. You know, Adrian probably had a conversation with Hilo earlier. They were sitting together when we got here. Fuck. You did? Maybe he said some fun facts I can use for the next video. You've got to tell me. Elena reached out and clamped her hands tightly around Adrian's arms before I could make a hasty escape like Hilo. Elena knows the way around the agency just as well as I do. In fact, she knows a lot of insider information that would be helpful for a new worker. Oh no. Elena, Adrian could tell you all about his conversation with Hilo. You both win. Win seems like a loss to me. She clapped her hands together, and Adrian knew that the matter was settled. For the next few hours, he'd be dragged around the agency. Well, I'm off to finish some more work. I'll leave Adrian in your very capable hands, Elena. Of course, it's going to be so much fun. I'm sure. I'll give you a ride home when we're all done, kid. That was Sterling's way of dumping Adrian on his new energetic co-worker. I'll have to thank Sterling later. The older man walked away shortly after, and Adrian had no choice but follow Elena. Elena had an insider tip to say about every little thing in the agency. Paintings on the fifth floor were all cheaply made copies, real ones were in the lobby where most people spent their time. Rugs in the hallways were vacuumed twice daily, and each stapler in the building had a different colored staples. She had even shown him some as proof. She was a little bundle full of plenty of knowledge, full of knowledge. It was actually really impressive and proved that Alina always had her ears open when walking around the agency. As Adrian had, or rather, Sterling had promised, Adrian told Elena about Hylo's behavior during the Elias Lowe interview they'd watched together. His behavior isn't really surprising. Hylo doesn't seem to like Ash much. So Hylo was so disgruntled over the mention of Ash earlier and not Elias? That's certainly interesting. Why? I don't know. Do you think either of them would tell the one in charge of social media content? No, I guess not. I guess even celebrities have their fights. Anyhow, it's not something that really reflects well in the agency and none of my business, so I don't push Hylo for that info. Makes sense. Believe it or not, I do care about the star's privacy, but I need to be pushy if I want to get content. Still have a job to do. Those words reassured Adrian that Elena was someone who meant well. There seem to be a lot of people like that at the agency. Working here probably won't be so bad. The pair returned to the lobby on the ground floor, having completed another tour of the agency. Something on your mind? Adrian contemplated. Did he really want to draw out this experience any longer? Question. Answer. Oh, god dang it. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. What were you going to say? Just something you said earlier. That you weren't allowed in that lounge? Oh, that one is reserved for the stars. Staff from the other departments aren't really supposed to be in there. That building is known as the homestead. It's where the talent apartments are. That particular lounge is a common area for them. That explains a few things, like a guitar. Sterling failed to mention that bit when he left me there. Oh. He clapped hands together, changing her tone completely. Anyway, I think that's about it for our tour, Adrian. It's finally over. Thank you for the tour. Of course. You're super nice. It's going to be so much fun working with you. Likewise. He had no problem with that girl, but he had felt like his social gas tank was on empty just listening to her prattle on. Have a great evening. See you tomorrow. It looks like daylight. They parted ways, Elena returned to work, Adrian wandering out to the massive stairs that led to the building. Tomorrow, he might need an energy drink. Heavy footsteps behind him alerted him to the presence of someone approaching. Looking up, he sees the hulking figure of Sterling beaming down. Having fun? Not the word I'd use. She's okay. Loud. You get used to it. Why don't we call this a wrap on orientation day? I'll give you a lift home and let you decompress after our real work day tomorrow. Yeah, sounds good. Today was another day. He laughed to himself, thinking that he'd be working a 9 to 5 just like his parents had always urged him to. It was something he had never saw himself doing, but now it would be his regular. He ran his hand through his hair. His morning bath had taken longer than he'd planned, and such he decided to save time to keep his hair wet and use extra time to crawl right back to bed. It'd hopefully dry throughout the course of the day, a day he was yet again dreading. Sterling's good morning was not unwelcome. His task for the day, however. Today, Sterling had wanted him to go to the Annex Theater building where the filmography set was. That in itself wasn't a problem. It was the fact that not only would Adrian be meeting up with Elena, but Sterling would conveniently not be there again. There was nothing wrong with Elena as a person. She's just a bit much. A lot. Maybe more than a lot. She talks so fast too, rattling off everything that had popped into her mind without even taking a break. She could read the dictionary underwater. It would be another long day. A message from Sterling? Adrian lifted his phone to his face and scrolled through for the message. Sterling, just as he had thought. One for big stars, Elias is out today, so I need you to back up one of the clients at the photo shoot in this place. I remember him. Okay then. Adrian made a mental note of it. Not every day could be an orientation. Adrian grabbed his keys and headed down to his own car. Sterling wasn't the only one who had a love of cars. Sterling wasn't the one who had a love of cars. While not quite on the same level as Sterling's love, Adrian possessed a vintage Beetle, which he adored. When he got particularly stuck when trying to write, he would often hop in his ancient little bug and drive. Hop into. It's supposed to be hop. Listening to the engine and letting the world fade away around him. First, bought the car in high school, fixing it up in one of the few non-agency activities with his father, and had been driving it ever since. A custom sunny yellow paint job that had seen better days than a hand-drawn illustration of a sunflower and a bee on the rear door. Brianna's work. Her gift to him. It made him smile every time he saw it. Drive to the agency was short one. Adrian could probably get there with his eyes closed. He spent countless hours in one of the daycare rooms at the agency. What a dull and boring place that was. Hope I never get to visit again. He's discovered by a familiar sound. Fangirls! I can drive around. He mumbled to himself under his breath. Sterling wasn't here today, so the chance of sweet talking his way through the crowd was slim to none. In fact, he didn't even want to try it. He turned the steering wheel to the side and began to drive around the building. Fuck. There was no parking spots available at the back entrance, of course. Why would there be? His life couldn't be easy for a single morning. He had to drive all the way back, park his car in the front lot, and then try to walk to another less crowded entrance where he could avoid having to deal with the fans. All this because people wanted to catch a glimpse of the superstar. Was the man even worth the time and effort? Adrian couldn't tell from their one conversation alone, though he was apt to believe in the negative when it came to celebrities. Adrian put his foot on the accelerator and drove forward. What the hell? Caught a glimpse of a very suspicious black shadow hovering behind a large oak tree. He could see the outline of a man behind it. In a hood? I swear I saw Hilo in this direction. She's not lying, I saw him too. Hilo always uses side entrance on Tuesdays. Why would he be near the back today? He pulled his car over the side and watched the man strafe left and right, looking around very suspiciously. If it hadn't reminded him of an crash it had on the other day, he would have been worried about the agency security. Yeah, it was Hilo. Adrian and Hilo locked eyes. Oh, great, he saw me. There was a sense of urgency in his eyes, like an animal scurrying away from a predator. Oh, my poor baby. He almost all felt bad for him, but he was quickly wiped away when he realized that today it was not his problem. It probably couldn't be his problem for the day either. Hilo was a celebrity. It came with the territory. A not so small trade for all the money and fame that the world could offer him. Huh? Oh, he rushed in. Who told you could just get in my car? Who told you not to lock your door? It jams sometimes, so I keep it open until I park, all right? You know what? We can continue our lovely conversation while you drive. Let's go. Drive where? Loop around once and then go through the gates. I just looped around like a minute ago. A minute ago, you didn't have me in your car, did you? A minute ago, I was having an almost okay day, and now it'll be even better because again, I'm in your car, running away from your fans and making me a target. Yes, much better. Anyway, just loop around. You look like you're trying to find a parking spot. Your stylish car is the perfect cover. Fine, fine, whatever. The faster we get this over with, the faster we get out. Exactly. I don't like the way you said stylish. This car is my baby. A star representing the heart agency is guarding get the cameras. You could swear his thin lips upturned into a smirk in the rearview mirror. I'm incognito, it doesn't count. A really great scars you got there. The hood totally covers your face. The hair poking out and the headphones don't give away anything at all. It's definitely not like you've worn this outfit before. Oh, so you know it's a high-low trademark. Everyone does. Not everyone, but you do. It was simple conversation, not one he thought he'd get scrutinized for, and that he was wearing the same thing yesterday too. Whatever, we're here anyway. Seeing Hilo had distracted the fans enough that they were able to drive straight through the main entrance, suddenly devoid of the excitable crowd, he let out a sigh of relief. You looped around pretty quickly. Yeah, Adrian's voice trailed off when he noticed that Hilo already had a foot outside the door. This time there was no squeak. Hilo must have opened it gingerly. How nice of him. Okay then, have a great day. Thanks. By the way, your car doesn't look like shit. A little shitty, but not all shit. Eat shit. Eat dirt and die trash. In the wise words of Blanche Devereaux. 10 minutes late, not off to a good start. Adrian could barely see the time when Elena wagging her phone in his face. He knew it was late regardless. Finding parking in the cramped lot was hard enough. Adding in navigating through fans with their idol in your car? Nightmare. Sorry, Hilo jumped in my car. As if it was bottling up inside him and he couldn't hold it any longer. What? Elena could barely contain her excitement. She exclaimed loudly. Noticing the new stairs in her direction, she placed a hand over her mouth and quieted down. Just got into your car? To escape the fans that were looking for him. Oh my gosh, what did you do? I helped him get into the building without being seen. Of the kindness of your heart or because the stubborn guy gave you no choice? A little bit of both. If we didn't have a huge day ahead of us, I'd be pestering you for more info. Thank God for that. She began to walk forward. Look, it's good to be friends with your office mates. Chaperoning one of our stars, Ash. I don't like the sound of that. Chaperoning? Is he a child? Not exactly, no. He's a bit difficult to deal with. He likes to run off. A grown adult run off. Mm-hmm. Normally his twin brother, Elias, keeps him in check, but today he's busy. Adrian had recalled seeing the stoic man being interviewed on the Good Morning show the day before. You have to make sure that Ash is present and participating in both of his photo shoots today. They're back to back. Two? Great. What's he like? I don't really know. He and his brother avoid me like the plague, and they're better at it than Hilo, that's for sure. Oh, but I did hear that Ash and Elias are like notoriously hard to work with. One more than the other, but I'll let you decide who. I've never had the pleasure finding out for myself. Oh, but Sterling said you'd be perfect for the job, and he's so fucking. He can eat. He can eat a cheesecake. He'll totally be fine. Probably. Psych myself out, right? Alright, come on. Alright, where are we? Trisha! Adrian, she's the best photographer like ever. She's done shoots for center spreads, online publications, even billboards. She has a great eye for colors. Oh, but she excels in the angle she makes her models pose in. Then there's the lighting. Think you can handle it? I'll take that as a yes. Go them, get him. Need anything at all? You got my number. Stern give it to you, right? Yep. Alright, I'm going out then. Good luck. His apparition. He knew Trisha Bell. More troubling, she knew him. She had been Brianna's best friend since he could remember. He certainly hadn't expected to find her here. Make sprites for the girls, guys. Please let Sterling have planned for this. Adrian gave the girl a wave, but had little time to lament on the moment as a shadow cascaded over him. Okay, new guy, here's how this works. You need to find Ash first. I have to find him? Ash loves to run off. Getting him to do anything work-related is difficult. Great. I really want to know what this phone button does. Let's save first. Something about the UI really bugs me. I think it's because the brightly colored ones could lead to blanks. Afterwards, you'll need to get him into his costume and get his hair and makeup done. Sterling said you were his guy. Don't let him down. Trisha walked away with a wink to finish her own duties, leaving Adrian on his own to contemplate his next move. Where do I even begin searching for a model? Maybe it's in the storage? There was a door to the right set up with a black and gold plaque that read storage room. He quietly opened the door and peered inside. All it revealed were large steel suitcases, too many to climb behind, so there was no way that Ash was in here. Maybe he's not in the studio at all. I probably wouldn't hide in plain sight. Guess I'll head back in. Where could this man be? Honestly, Adrian didn't know where to check. Ash could be anywhere in the entire agency. The place was massive, though. He'd be here all day searching. Scanned the area again, eyes falling to a door on the right side of the set. That could be a possibility. What's behind the black curtains? Storage. More storage? Couldn't fit everything in the storage room? Are you questioning what's in my studio? No, never mind. Forget I said anything. Just find my model. Yes, right. I really have no idea where this man could be. The sound of light clicks could be heard. He peered over slightly. Oh, something's there. Oh, he's using his compooper. Of course. The man, so engrossed in whatever he was doing, didn't hear Adrian maneuver his way around the various obstacles. As he got closer, he could hear the faint music on the laptop speakers. I know that song. It's from a game. If this is our guy and he's a difficult to work with, as people say, I need to get him to trust me. Adrian had an idea. Are you playing a game? He looked up from his laptop, surprise on his face. Oh no, I've been found out. Face-wise, at least, he looks like Elias. That was as far as his celebrity likeness had gone. He looked more like a kid trying to grind out a game in the internet cafe before he had to go home and do his homework. He certainly wasn't what one would expect coming from Heart Agency. Pointed to the laptop that Ash was slamming away on. He had long since returned to his attention to it, as if Adrian wasn't standing there at all. I said, are you playing a game? He's not going to talk to me, is he? I've got to keep trying. Fantastic finale 19. Final Fantasy, really? His eyes light up, as if hearing Adrian for the first time today. Do you play? Adrian shook his head, a frown on his lips. There was a sense of hope in Ash's voice, and Adrian felt a little bad for dashing it. No, but I've seen it around. Isn't it critically acclaimed? He drooped his head down slightly for a moment, only looking up with a newfound fervor. You should try it. It's got a trial where you can play up to level 69 for... Not anymore! Not anymore! Eat shit! Square Enix. Something you had to do. I could give you a referral code that would give you some cool in-game stuff to help you out. And I get coins from it too. What do you do with the coins? Buy exclusive in-game content like mounts or pets. I could just spend his actual money on it. I'm sure the agency is paying him enough if he's as big as Sterling says. Ash let out a heavy sigh after Adrian's moment of silence. You're not here to play games, are you? No, I'm not. Who are you? Some new guy or something? I've never seen you around before. My name's Adrian. I'm Elias's replacement for today. Ray said nah, Rowan began to laugh. By the end, a bitter smile remained on his face. I can already tell you're nothing like my brother. This isn't going to work. Maybe, but you don't really know me. Give it a shot. Then let me get to know you. First question, how did you know I was playing Fantasy Finale 19? The music, it's iconic. I would know. I've written a few of the songs over the years. It really is so beautiful and sometimes epic. I love it so much. The composers and lyricists truly understand the player base. You can tell they actually play the game. The music is so thematic and the motives are so deep. I mean, I can't say I played it, but Aiden watched Ash talk about the game curiously. He knew a lot about it seemed. Listen, I'd love to stand around and chat all day, but you've got two photo shoots to get ready for. There's not much time to waste. He turned his back, signifying the conversation was over. I have to get him ready for the photo shoots. What do I do? Make him an offer. We can come up with a deal, can't we? You're joking. I'm not. What do you have in mind then, Mr. Adrian? Well, Mr. Ash, what if I use your referral link? Huh? Set the page up and I'll make an account. Right now? Yeah, you said it's free, right? He really loves this game. Aw, that's how you win him over. Here, I already entered my code. Make sure you use a real valid email or it won't work. Only if you'll stop hiding and go get ready for the photo shoot. Yeah, I'll do it. For the coins. Works for me. Really didn't think this was how his day was going to go today, but it could be way worse, so he wasn't complaining. Besides, a valid email didn't have to be his real one. He owed Sterling a favor for all he'd done with giving him his job, sticking him with Elena, making him babysit a grown adult who would rather play games than do his job. Oh yeah, let me show you my gratitude, Sterling. Sterling? Placed a finger to his lips and winked. Next time I'll be able to use your code with my name. You'd get more coins that way, right? Ash's smile almost caught Adrian off guard. It was stunning, truly like a model's. It was all starting to make sense now. Yeah, thanks. Well, that was easier than expected. Oh, cute gamer boy. Oh. Pleasure doing business with you, Mr. Adrian. Likewise. He didn't know how many emails he could scavenge up, but if this was what he would have to do to convince Ash to do his job, he'd do it. It was a long day of photo shoots, not without Ash complaining at every corner. He had done what was expected of him, surely, but not without resistance. It was even more tiring than following Elaine around all day, and this was just for a few hours. He could only imagine what it'd be like to have to deal with Ash full time. He wasn't ready. Though at least he got paid better than a babysitter, so there was that. Elena said to meet her in the lounge. Adrian held his phone up by his chest and waved it around. Nope. Nope. He said to complete the photo shoots, and I did that. I'm out of here now. Yeah, but the lounge is on the way out. Just peep your head in for a second and... No. Still no? You mean yes. You mean yes, right? Ho! Elena placed a hand on Ash's shoulder, the guy turning to glare at her. Adrian jumped slightly, not knowing where she had come in from. Perfect timing. I didn't really want to spend any more time arguing with Ash. I've had enough for today. I meant no. Boo. Adrian, you're telling Sterling, not me. Me? No way. The two playfully bickered, only stopping when Ash cut them off by clearing his throat. Did you say Sterling? He looked up curiously for a moment and then let us sigh. Seemed like the big boss was his kryptonite. Yes, he's the one who wants to see you both. Fine, let's go. Despite Ash's earlier discontent, he followed Adrian and Elena quite closely as the pair walked ahead, one step after another, close to the agency's main lounge. Okay, this is getting quite to be a lengthy game. Standing in the corner of the lounge was Sterling, with his arms outstretched. Behind Sterling was Hilo, head drooped as he looked at the floor. Welcome, welcome, you boys are friendly here. I had to send Elaine after you to make sure. Sorry, guys, I gotta rush this. Adrian and Ash were just having a nice chat in the halls. Nice, right. What's going on? Nothing terrible. Good, then I'll just be on my way. As Ash began to walk past Sterling, the man grabbed his arm and squeezed it lightly, just enough to signify warning. Not so fast. Take a seat by Hilo. Oh yeah, they hate each other. Sterling snapped his fingers together when he was happy with everyone's positions. Adrian, Sterling, and Elaine at the front of the room and the stars sitting on the couch. Would have liked Elias to be here for this announcement, but he's busy on another task. So Adrian, you and I will have a meeting with him another time. Meeting about what? The official announcer is our newest employee. Everyone, this is Adrian. He'll be working closely with you all. How closely? He'll be bugging us to do our jobs, it seems like. Yeah, the jobs you're getting paid to do. Enough. It's a celebration. You all have a new coworker. That's the bottom line. New babysitter. Speak for yourself. I don't need a babysitter. Adrian will be my assistant, so what he says goes. Understood? They watch silently, never moving. Understood? Yes, sir. Okay then, let's take a picture to commemorate. Sterling herded Adrian towards Hilo and Ash. Stand up, stand up! Do we have to? Yeah. Please, no more photos. Wait, Sterling. Say cheese. Oh, okay, that was... Okay, that was the end. Thank goodness. Look... Okay, this was a cute little game. I feel like I'm gonna enjoy the story quite a bit. As like, this looks to be a heavy investment. This demo was made in 2 months for Yaoi Jam 2021. Thank you so much for playing. If you like the game, make sure to check out our studio for other releases, projects, collabs, and future plans. I wonder if they'll make a future plan for this one. You can also support us on Patreon and help us release more content and updates for this and other games. Alright, Heart Agency. I'm looking forward to this one. I wonder if they'll make a full version. I'm really actually hoping that they make sprites for Elena. She sounds like a fun girl. A good foil to our protagonist here. And the love interest, really good. I don't know, I have a soft spot for Elena. She sounds fun. Anyway, guys, that was Heart Agency. Thank you guys so much for joining me. That was a good game. I'm gonna take a... Alright, we've got a few days left for 12 days of Yaoi, so thank you so much for joining me. This is something to look out for, hopefully. California Macky signing out. Bye for now. Before we end, let's give huge shoutouts to the patrons who've helped me keep running. Sebastian, Adam Ferguson, Adam Bullman, Jan Van S, David S. Edwards IV, Louis John, CC Anthony, Darius Tan, Jeremy Shaw, Victor H., Dominic Ruiz, Rashid Watson, William Johnson, Sean Thomas, Stephen, Sam Amar, David Virtue, Ryder Evans, Yo-Yo Dre, J52, Russell, Philip, Elizana, and everyone at the Sweet Sampler tier. Thank you guys so much for the continued support. This has been a fun series so far, and I am enjoying myself, and we're gonna wrap this up with a bang.